Cold ice cream, sweet ice cream. Only 20 rupees. Please, children, have a taste. The old man's voice cracked as he pushed his rusty cart down the busy street. His wrinkled hands, veined and scarred from years of labor, trembled as he rang the tiny bell tied to the handle. The sun bore down mercilessly, and sweat mixed with the dust on his face. He smiled anyway, a gentle, fragile smile, the kind only someone who had learned to survive life's storms could give. A little boy tugged his mother's dress. "Mama, can we buy ice cream?" The woman glanced at the old man, hesitated, then shook her head. "Not today, Beta. His ice creams look old. Probably not clean." They walked away, leaving the man's smile hanging in the hot air like an unanswered question. He sighed quietly, almost whispering to himself, "They think I'm nothing. Just an old man. Just a seller on the street." His fingers tightened on the cart handle. His lips trembled as he muttered, "But if they only knew." If they only knew, a teenager nearby sneered to his friends. "Look at that Buddha, selling ice cream nobody wants. He should be home sleeping, not wasting time here." The group laughed. Loud and careless, their laughter cutting like knives. The old man lowered his gaze, swallowed his hurt, and softly said, "May Allah bless you, children. May you never know hunger." His voice was so faint, it was swallowed by the city noise. But then his eyes shifted toward the playground across the street. Children were running, laughing, their voices pure and free. His face softened, his eyes shining with something deeper, something hidden. For a moment, he wasn't the frail seller of melted ice cream. For a moment, his mind slipped back to a time long ago when his name wasn't Chacha or the ice cream man, but Sir Rashid. The clanging of the cart bell faded in his memory, replaced by the sound of hundreds of little voices chanting, "Good morning, sir." He had once been a schoolteacher, a beloved one, a man whose classroom had been filled with poor children, orphans, laborers' sons, street girls with bare feet, children society ignored. And he had fed them, taught them, protected them. He had given them dreams. But here, on this street, no one knew, not a soul. A young man in a clean suit stopped near the cart, scrolling his phone. He raised his eyes almost absent-mindedly and asked, "Babaji, how much for one?" 20 Beta, the old man said warmly. "But for you, 15. The young man frowned. "Why? You don't even know me." The old man chuckled softly, a faint spark of his past dignity showing. "I don't need to know you. You're young. You need sweetness for your journey. Old men like me, we've had our share." The man smiled despite himself. He handed over a note, took the ice cream, and for the first time in hours, the old man's cart lightened by one. As the suited man walked away, a beggar girl with tangled hair stood near the cart, staring longingly. The old man noticed. He crouched down, his knees cracking, and asked gently, "Do you want one, Betty?" She nodded shyly but whispered, "I don't have money." His heart ached. He reached into the cart, pulled out the sweetest cone he had left, and pressed it into her tiny hands. "This one is free. Just promise me. You'll smile while eating it." The girl's face lit up like dawn breaking over darkness. She grinned, showing missing teeth, and ran away giggling. The old man chuckled, wiping his eye. That smile, worth more than 1,000 rupees. Behind him, a shopkeeper scoffed. "Buddha pagal ho gaya, giving things for free? No wonder he's still on the street. What a useless life." The old man didn't argue. He simply whispered to himself, "If only you knew, son. If only you knew the children I once saved. Not with ice cream, but with fire, with courage." His voice faded as his memories clawed back. It was many years ago, in a village school built of brick and hope. He remembered the night the storm came. Not a storm of rain, but of fire. The school had caught a blaze, the thatched roof roaring with flames, the children screaming, trapped inside, and he had run into that fire without hesitation. But before the memory could take full form, reality jolted him back. The screech of a car horn, the dust blowing into his lungs. He coughed violently, gripping the cart to keep from collapsing. People walked past, indifferent, their eyes avoiding him. Still, he straightened himself. Cold ice cream, sweet ice cream. His voice cracked again, but he kept going, because for him, selling ice cream wasn't survival. It was a disguise, a humble mask hiding the weight of a heroic past, a past that nobody cared to ask about, a past that was about to collide with the present in the most unexpected way. On the other side of the street, a man stood frozen. He had been watching, his eyes narrowed, his breath caught in his throat. "It can't be. No, is that Sir Rashid?" He whispered the name like a prayer. His chest tightened as memories flooded back. He remembered being 8 years old, his tiny hands holding a book for the first time, placed there by the same man now pushing an ice cream cart. He remembered the fire, the smoke, the arms that had carried him to safety. And now, decades later, the child had grown into a man who had built his life, his career, his future, all because of the stranger everyone ignored, but no one else knew. Only he did. He whispered again, tears rising in his eyes. "Sir Rashid, it's you." The old man's cart bell rang, cutting through the noise of the city. A sound so small, yet carrying the weight of an untold story that was finally about to be uncovered. The man on the other side of the street, his name was Imran, stood frozen as though time itself had stopped. His chest rose and fell quickly, his heartbeat drumming in his ears. He clenched his fists, fighting the rush of disbelief. Could it really be him? Could the frail ice cream seller truly be the man who once saved him and hundreds of others? The bell on the cart jingled again. The old man's cracked voice floated across the traffic. Cold ice cream, sweet ice cream, 20 rupees, children, 20 rupees. Imran's throat tightened. His memories weren't blurry. They were as sharp as yesterday. He remembered the heat, the flames consuming the wooden beams above his school desk, the children screaming in panic. He remembered his own small body frozen in fear. And then, strong arms had lifted him, shielding him from the fire, carrying him out while smoke filled his lungs. He remembered a face streaked with sweat and soot, yet calm and determined. That face now stood before him, aged, weathered, forgotten. Imran whispered, almost in awe, "It's really you." Then, gathering courage, he crossed the street. The old man looked up, surprised. His eyes softened when he saw Imran's polished suit and confident stride. He forced a smile. "Would you like an ice cream, beta? For you, I'll make it fresh." Imran swallowed hard. He stared at the man, searching for the right words. His voice trembled. Do you remember me?" The old man blinked, confused. "Should I? My memory isn't what it used to be." He chuckled weakly, trying to lighten the air. "I meet so many faces every day. They come, they go. Only the children's smiles stay in my mind." Imran's eyes filled with tears. "You don't remember, do you? The fire, the school, the night you saved us all." His words cracked like glass breaking. "You carried me out when I thought I would die. You risked your life for us." The old man froze. His smile faltered. His eyes, once dulled by years of poverty, widened with shock. He whispered slowly, "The fire. You were there." Imran nodded, tears streaming freely now. "Yes, sir. I was there. I'm alive today because of you." The old man's lips trembled. His frail body leaned against the cart for support. He whispered hoarsely, I thought they had all forgotten. I thought the fire erased me." "No." Imran's voice shook with passion. "I never forgot. How could I? Every success I have, every step I take, it's because you once lifted me from death." The old man closed his eyes, tears streaking down the deep lines of his face. His whisper was barely audible. "For so many years, I wondered if what I did mattered, if saving them, saving you, had been enough. and here you are." He lifted his trembling hand to touch Imran's shoulder, as though afraid the man was just a dream. Imran covered the old man's hand with both of his. "Sir, you mattered more than you'll ever know." His voice broke. "I owe you everything." By now, people had begun to slow down, sensing something unusual. Passers-by, once indifferent, now looked curiously at the emotional scene. A fruit seller muttered to his neighbor, "What's happening? That rich-looking man is crying in front of the ice cream wallah." The shopkeeper who had mocked earlier crossed his arms. "What drama is this now?" But Imran ignored them. His voice rose with raw emotion. "Everyone sees an old man with an ice cream cart, but what they don't know is that this man once saved hundreds of children. He was our teacher, our protector, our hero." The crowd murmured, disbelief flickering in their eyes. An old woman gasped, covering her mouth. A young mother pulled her son closer, whispering, "Could it be true?" The old man shook his head, humbled, his eyes still wet. No, don't call me a hero. I only did what any teacher would do for his children." Imran's voice grew stronger, more certain. "No, sir. You did what no one else could. You ran into the fire when others ran away. You saved me. You saved us. And today I will not let you stand here alone, selling ice cream like you're forgotten. Never again." The old man's lips quivered, but no words came. He simply stood there, tears rolling freely as decades of silence cracked open around him. In the background, the little beggar girl who had been given free ice cream earlier appeared again, clutching the cone tightly. She tugged at a woman's dress and said innocently, "He's a good man, Auntie. He gave me this for free when I had no money." The woman's eyes softened. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder, tinged now with respect, shame, and awe. One man in the crowd whispered, "We judged him without knowing. All these years we walked past a living legend." The old man shook his head, overwhelmed. He whispered brokenly, "I never wanted thanks, only to know my children were safe, happy, building lives." Imran's eyes shone. "Then let me tell you this, sir. Your children are everywhere. Doctors, engineers, mothers, fathers, and I am one of them. Your legacy never died. It's alive in all of us." The old man's chest heaved, a sob escaping his throat. He reached forward and hugged Imran tightly, his frail arms trembling. "Alhamdulillah, I can die in peace now. I know I did not live in vain." The crowd fell silent, the city's noise fading under the weight of the moment. Even the ones who mocked earlier lowered their eyes in shame. Imran whispered fiercely, holding him, "No, sir. You will not die in peace yet. You will live. You will live to see the world honor you. You will not sell ice cream alone another day. I swear it." The old man pulled back, shaking his head softly. "Son, I don't need honor. I only need kindness. Promise me you'll pass that on." Imran nodded, his voice steady now. "I promise, but first, let the world know who you really are." And for the first time in decades, the old man did not feel invisible. For the first time, his hidden story was breaking free. The air was thick with silence, broken only by the faint jingle of the ice cream cart bell swinging in the wind. Imran stood tall, his arm firmly around the frail old man's shoulders, as if he were shielding him from the weight of the years of neglect he had carried alone. People in the crowd whispered, staring with new eyes at the man they had ignored for so long. The fruit seller wiped his hands on his apron and muttered, "I never knew. Every day he passed my shop, and I thought he was just ordinary." A teenager, one of those who had mocked earlier, lowered his head, ashamed. I laughed at him today, and all this time he was someone who saved lives." The old man, still trembling, raised his hand gently. His voice, though soft, carried in the hush. "Please, don't shame yourselves. I never wanted anyone to bow to me. I wanted you to look at the children who laugh, who go to school, who grow strong, and know that's enough." But Imran shook his head firmly. "No, sir. You gave too much to be forgotten. Today, people will remember." He pulled out his phone, hands shaking with urgency. He opened his contacts, his voice trembling with excitement. "Do you know where your children are now, sir? The ones you saved, the ones you taught. They're everywhere, and I will call them." The old man's eyes widened, fear and hope battling in his chest. "No, no, don't trouble them. They've moved on. They have lives. Why would they remember an old man?" Imran's voice grew fierce. "Because you remembered them when nobody else did. Because you walked into fire for them, they will remember." And so he dialed. His voice cracked with emotion as he explained to the first call. "It's him, Sir Rashid. He's alive. He's here, selling ice cream on the street. Come, please." Word spread like wildfire. By evening, as the sun painted the city in gold and crimson, they began to arrive. One by one, then dozens. A woman in a nurse's uniform rushed forward, tears already streaming. "Sir, do you remember me? I was little Farah. You gave me shoes when my feet bled from walking barefoot to school. Look at me now. I heal people because you taught me kindness." She fell at his feet, clutching his hand, sobbing. A tall man in glasses pushed through, his voice trembling. "Sir, it's me. Arif, you dragged me out of the fire when I couldn't breathe. Today I'm a teacher just like you. I try to give children what you gave me." Another voice, another embrace, another tear. A doctor, an engineer, a shopkeeper, a mother, a father, one after another, they came, all of them children once saved, all of them carrying his legacy in their lives. The street was no longer a street. It became a classroom, a reunion, a living testimony to a man's forgotten greatness. The old man broke down, covering his face with trembling hands. "Ya Allah, I thought I was alone. I thought nobody remembered." Farah pressed his hand to her forehead. "Sir, we never forgot. We only lost you, but we carried you with us every single day." Imran turned to the crowd, his voice steady and strong now. "Do you see? This is not just an ice cream seller. This is a man who once saved hundreds of children and gave them a future. A man who wore no medals, stood on no stage, yet his legacy lives in every life here today." The crowd fell silent. Some cried openly. Even the shopkeeper who mocked earlier stepped forward, his voice shaking. "Sir, forgive me. I judged you by your clothes, your cart, your age. I never saw the giant standing before me." The old man shook his head gently, smiling through tears. "No need for forgiveness, son. Just promise me. Never look at anyone as small. Even a broken man may carry stories that can light the world." The words struck deep. The young teenager who had mocked earlier whispered, "I'll never laugh at an old man again." Imran clasped the old man's hands tightly. "Sir, from this day, you will never stand alone on this street. We will take care of you. The world will hear your story." The old man's eyes, once dull with years of invisibility, now glowed with peace. He looked around at the faces, grown children, grateful souls, strangers who now stood in reverence. His lips trembled, and he whispered, "Now I know. I did not live in vain." And the crowd erupted, not with cheers, but with tears, with embraces, with promises. The ice cream cart bell rang one last time, not as a call for buyers, but as a symbol of resilience, of humility, of a man who gave everything and asked for nothing. And that night, as the old man sat surrounded by the children he had once saved, his story became a lesson to every eye that watched. Because sometimes the person you pass by without noticing, the one selling on the street, the one you dismiss as ordinary, might just be the one who once carried the world on their shoulders. The story closes on a single powerful truth. Greatness often hides in plain sight. Think of it tomorrow, when you buy bread from a vendor, when you see a janitor sweeping the floor, when you notice an old man selling something on the roadside. Behind those tired eyes might live a story greater than yours, greater than mine, a story that could change the world. And so, the old man's life whispers to all of us, never measure a person by what they have now, measure them by the lives they've touched, the kindness they've left behind. Because in the end, legacies are not built of wealth or fame. They are built of love, sacrifice, and the lives we save when no one is watching. And with that, dear friends, thank you for staying with us through this journey. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Black Saga. Drop a comment to share your thoughts and like this video. Most importantly, share it with someone who needs this reminder today.